Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another Marvel United unboxing. This is for the Multiverse Kickstarter stretch goals, big, giant, huge box. This is video part 4. So parts 1 through 3, we went over a bunch of the villains and anti-heroes, but just the villain half. So the next 2 videos, I'm going to hope to try and get through all of the heroes. They should take less time because they don't have as many cards or the dashboard to go through, so hopefully get through more per each one. So we broke up this one into, try to group them up a little bit, so we're going to do mutants and monsters in this one, and then the next video, part 5, we will do Avengers, Young Avengers, and some other different characters like that, some other auxiliary type characters, the Thunderbolt, stuff like that. Alright, so let's hop into this right away. Just get her going. So we're going to start off with Generation X. So we've had a couple members already in previous sets through the X-Men campaign. We had Jubilee, we had Emma Frost, and Banshee would have made up the first 3 members. But we definitely needed some more, and we got a few more. Now, we don't have the entirety team, but we have enough to at least play as a team. So we're going to start with good old Paige Guthrie, or Husk. So yeah, let's just take a look at her miniature quick, and then we can hop in and look at her cards. So of course, Husk's mutant ability is to shed her skin into different forms. So she can turn into like wood, metal, glass, and then like future alternate reality versions and stuff. She can also shed her skin to become elemental forces such as acid or fire. She can do that in the regular, but she doesn't do it when she's in Generation X for not very much. But yeah, so she'll have an interesting little mechanic in the game here, which we will see. But let's just start looking off at her regular cards. So here she has Move and Attack, Move Heroic, Move Wild, her single wild, and her double wild. Then she has a bunch of Sting. So we're going to look at the first 2 here. She's got 2 copies of Omnimorph, which is basically the name of her ability. At the end of your turn, you may swap this card with another face-up Sting card in the storyline, or search your hero deck for any card and place it on the top, shuffle the rest of your deck. So this is kind of neat. So you can play this, you get the wild ability, and then you can swap it with this card, another face of Sting card in your starting, or search your hero deck for another card and place it on the top. So you can either search for a card you need, or you could swap one of the other cards, which could get you a different symbol on the bottom. Although if you have wild, I don't know why it would make that big of a deal. For the fact of the symbol, it's not going to make it. It's going to make a deal for how these work. So then she has like Adamantium Sting, which will say, as long as this card is your latest Sting card in the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage during each villain's turn. So the Omnimorph will let you switch to any of your previous ones, or hopefully let you find one you need quicker, and that way it can be the last one in your storyline. So this will help you take some extra damage. We have Stone Sting. As long as this is the latest Sting card, at the beginning of each of your turns, you may defeat 1 thug or rescue 1 civilian in your location. And another way, kind of neat way to get around this is if you have, if you're playing with, usually have her regular basic cards, she still has those Sting cards out. If you have team deck cards or companion cards, those are other cards you could play instead. So you can keep these Sting cards out for quite a while just by playing one of the non-Sting cards. She has Rubber Sting. As long as this card is your last Sting in the storyline, at the end of each of your turns, gain 1 heroic token. Fire Sting. As long as it's your latest Sting in the storyline, and each of your turns, gain 1 attack token. Or she has Paige's Sting. You get to just draw a card. So this one doesn't get you any of the extra bonuses, but it is a wild card nonetheless. So that's a pretty neat little mechanic there. So you kind of like, you play one of them, and if you want to keep that bonus for a while, play something else. But then if you later on you need to play a different card, gaining new abilities, you can use the Omnimorph to switch back around. So that's pretty cool. Alright, our next Generation X member Also note is all these Generation X members have all been X-Men at some point too. So we got Chamber, Jonathan Starsmore. So he has a living sonic fire inside of him. He has no lower mouth or jaw or chest, so he speaks telepathically. It's a really neat fire effect on him. It's gonna make painting him a little bit of a pain, but you know, still pretty cool. Yeah, so you can show like kinetic fire blasts. So let's see what he does for us. He has, a lot of time he just covers it up with a scarf. I like a giant flaming thing, you just put a scarf over and it's fine. So he has heroic. He has an attack, heroic attack, heroic attack, move attack, move attack. He's wild, he's double wild. And he's got 3 copies of the Biokinetic Flame. Double attack in your location, then discard 1 civilian from your location and deal 1 damage to another hero in your location if possible. So kind of good and kind of bad. He can do some extra damage, but he's going to get rid of a civilian, which isn't always good. And he's going to hurt someone else. So if he's by himself, he's pretty effective. And then he has Minor Telepathy. So gain 1 hero token. Heroes in your and adjacent locations may freely exchange action tokens amongst them. So that's actually pretty handy, right? To be able to exchange tokens around. Again, look, just teaming up right there with Husk. She has a way to gain extra tokens. So some good synergy there. I got to look at the rest of the characters to see how they all work together, but that will be a different video. Alright. Our next one up is Monette St. Croix, or M, as she was affectionately called, who has basically whatever ability she feels like having at the moment, essentially. She's super strength, flight, telepathy, and then later on she actually gains the ability to turn into her penance form, which is a huge storyline, which I'm not going to get into, but she has access to that in here too. She can turn into like a diamond hard-skinned penance form, which is kind of cool. And so that's going to be the beginning card she gets to start with here. Excuse me. So she has M form. At the start of the game, place this card with this side face up in front of you. At the end of each villain turn, you may flip this card to change into penance form. And if she switches to penance form, she uses this red spiky diamond version. At the end of each villain turn, you may flip this card to change to M form. So at the end of the villain turn, you can flip back and forth. Why does that matter? She has some cards that are going to do some special stuff. So she gets a wild, a wild, a wild, a double wild, kind of showing that she can do whatever she wants. Flight, if in M form, you also gain a move token. Genius Intellect, if in M form. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, if you end your turn in a location adjacent to the villains, reveal the top card of their master plan deck. Extended Telepathy. If in M form, you may turn 1 or 2 face down cards on a storyline belonging to other heroes face up. So that's helpful to turn some cards back up. That might be certain villains turn cards down. You might have an ability that turns it face down, so that can be helpful. Concussive Force. If in M form, double attack split as you like in your and adjacent areas. So she got like 4 cards that work if she's in M form. She's got to decide the villain's turn what card you might want to play next. Because then her other ones are her penance form. She has Claws. If in penance form, unpreventable double damage against a single target in your location. She has 2 copies of Razor Sharp Sting. If in penance form, gain 2 attack tokens, then deal 1 damage to each other hero in your location. And their last one is Dense Sting. So she has a penance form. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage on each villain turn. So that's pretty cool, right? So you get all these different options, kind of like Pig, like depending on what cards you're gonna play, depending on what order makes a huge difference. Where Page has Husk has to depend on what cards last. M is just depending on what cards you want to play next. You kind of gotta plan ahead Both of them actually gain tokens, which then Chamber can also have one card that lets you pass tokens around, so that's kind of neat. Alright, we're going to jump into another team that is X-Men related. It is the Starjammers. So we're going to start off with Corsair. Corsair is Cyclops and Havoc's and Vulcan's father. I can't think of his name. Not going to worry about it. Alright. So there he is. He's a human who's a captain of a bunch of space pirates. Which is more or less what they are. They, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy are sometimes referred to as, like, space pirates, but they're generally, like, they're being superheroes doing stuff. Maybe doing a little bit of crime at times, but these guys are more or less like pirates. So they go around and, steal or do whatever else they need to do. So the Starjammers are kind of neat. We're going to get 4 main ones and then kind of like a sub-member. But they're all going to have connecting abilities, which we'll see in a moment. So we have move heroic, just a heroic, move attack, his wild, his double wild, and then we have Saber Blade, unpreventable damage in your location. And then we get these fine abilities. So we have Starjammer Crew, Starjammer being in the blue text. If the previous hero in this storyline has Starjammer in its name, perform 1 wild. So these guys are going to gain bonus for having more Starjammer cards in play. So playing Starjammers as a team are a lot more powerful than playing them individually. Because then he also has Starjammer Crew with another one where he gains a wild for all of them, but he gains an attack at the bottom of that one, and a move at the bottom of that one. And then just to help out that, he also has Starjammer Leader. So he gets 2 copies of that, which have the word Starjammers in them. So it says, give 1 wild token from the pool to another hero. So they earn with his crew, and then you can hang them out. And then he also has Starjammer Pilot. Each other hero location may perform a move or a double attack. Or double move. Sorry, I can't even read. So yeah, like, if you're only playing with him mixed with anything else, all it means is these 3 Starjammer cards are going to basically be useless for their effects. It's still the bottom part, so they can still be played. They just won't have the effect to give out a token, or perform a wild, sorry. Because a previous hero card won't ever be a Starjammer. Otherwise, yeah, they're still pretty interesting. So if all your members are Starjammers, there's always a possibility you'll play a basic card and it won't work anyhow. So it's not like every single time you play them, it's always going to work. Alright, we got one of his crew members. We have Hepzibah. Hopefully I pronounced that right. She's like a fox lady. She also joined the X-Men for a while. Came down to Earth, hung out with Thunderbird. So I imagine she's probably being a cat lady. She'll probably have some more movement abilities. But we will see. So she's going to start off with attack, a move attack, heroic attack, wild, and wild. And then she has mood altering manipulation. Attach a stun token to a villain or henchman in your location. Next villain turn, their ban is cancelled and the token is discarded. And then she has a Starjammer Crew, which has a move and heroic, same as the other one. Previous cards, Starjammer in the name, you get to perform 1 wild. Then she gets 1 with a move and 1 with heroic. And then she has Starjammer's Acrobat. This turn you may treat all moves as wilds. And then Starjammer's Marksman, attacking adjacent location. And finally, she has Acute Senses. As long as this card is face up on the storyline, once per villain turn, if a villain ends their movement, your location may immediately move 1 adjacent one. So that's kind of cool. Again, movement abilities. Alright, then the next Starjammer we're going to get is Raza, who's a cyborg. I don't know if he's some sort of elf or if he's just what exactly his race is. Well, he is cyborg, so they're all kidnapped aboard I believe it was the Shi'ar cruiser at one point, and then when Corsair got in there, he broke them all out. They joined together to become the Starjammers, which is also the name of their ship. So they kind of work with the X-Men, but they kind of also, do what they need to do to survive. That's their more immediate goal. So Raza has a move attack, heroic, double expert marksman, so he has do damage in adjacent location with some heroics. He has a Starjammer crew with heroic move, one with attack, and one with heroic. And then he has 2 copies of these Starjammer Swordsmen, which say attack, then if you defeat one or more thug this turn, attack again. So that's very cool. And that'll help with the other abilities. Alright, the last main member of the crew we have is Chowd, or Chode. We'll see when we flip him over. So he's a big, giant, amphibious creature, but he's like a big bruiser as well. I love his, like, big harpoon hook thing. So he does have amphibian traits, but I think lots of people think he's a big, giant guy, and they think he's dumb like the Hulk. And I don't think it's. I think he's also the ship's engineer, I want to say. I might be wrong on that. I haven't dived into my Starjammer comic books in a little while. So I don't want to say that for sure. But we have, I don't think any of those. Oh, I was wrong here. I just want to make sure I point this out. Is As Above did have a starting hand location card. I don't think anybody else did so far. Let me just double check. Usually I catch that, but, not all the time. I think that was the only person. Yeah, she was the only one that had one. Then Chode has one. And has his little bird-like friend there as well. Move attack. Wild. Double wild. Then he has Amphibious Elusiveness. If you're in a location with a water token, you cannot take any damage until the beginning of your next turn. So in the box set, we have 3 water tokens. So you can have up to 3 of them. There are 3 other tokens in the War of the Kings set with the Inhumans, because Triton uses them as well. So you could potentially have about 6 if you have both of them in play. I don't think anyone else uses them. I think it's just the 2 of them. But that's kind of fun. Alright, so you have Starjammer crew with double attack, single attack. Single attack, so he's the bruiser of the team. He's got 2 copies of Starjammer Fighter. Attacking your location, then if your location with a water token, you also get a wild. He has Amphibious Physiology. Place a water token in 3 different locations if there are none in play. Otherwise, you may move 1 water token to any other location without one. So now this is saying, I just said if you had both, you could play all 6 of them. Like, this card's not going to let you do it. It says if there's already any in play, you can't place any more. So it's only going to let you play 3 total. So the other card did that as well. I don't remember. Lets you move them around, though, which is helpful. And then a telepathic immunity. As long as this card is face up on the storyline, ignore the first crisis token received during each hero or villain turn. So cool. He just ignore crisis tokens, and that's his starting hand card. So he starts with that one. And he starts with the alien physiology. So that way, you can, amphibious physiology. So you can get that one right off the bat to be able to place water tokens right on the first turn if you would like. Cool. Alright, then we have one more, I'd say, honorary Starjammer member, because she's not really a Starjammer, but she's also one of our space people. As we have Lilandra, the Queen of the Shi'ar, and Professor Xavier's consort, or, term for girlfriend, wife. So yeah, very interesting there. She's got her Shi'ar outfit. So you also team her up with the Shi'ar of, we also have playable, we have Gladiator, would be the only other playable one. So So if you want to play some more cosmic stuff. Oh, and then her base is kind of cool too. I didn't look at her base that much. Alright, so what does she do for us? She has movement, attack, heroic attack, move heroic, move attack, wild, and wild. And then she just gets one Starjammer ally here. So for the previous hero card in the story as Starjammer, in its game she gets to perform one. So she's not part of the crew, she's just an ally, like I said, temporary member. But that's the only one she gets for that. So she can kind of help out the team, but she can play by herself easily just as well. She's got 2 copies of Princess Magistrix. When another hero's special effect makes you gain an action token or swap cards in a storyline, you may flip this card face down to draw 1 card. Grand Admiral of the Imperial Fleet. Each other hero in the game may move. And she's got 2 copies of the Shar Diplomacy. Give one of your action tokens to another hero, and they may also gain 1 action token of the same type from the pool. So very cool, hanging out some extra tokens and stuff. Alright, then we are going to hop back into some mutants. We're going to jump into some new mutants. We have Darkchild. So we have Magic in the X-Men set. Way back when. Series 2. So now we have Darkchild, which is more of her... Magic would have been like her New Mutant form or version. This would be more of her X-Men form. Plus, also kind of looks like her darker side when she's dealing with more of the limbo stuff. So we do have, this is an anti-hero, so if you want to see the villain version of her, go check out the villain video, which I think would be video 3 for her. She's got a big soul sword there, and skulls. This is when she ports people around a lot more. Ports people into limbo versus just teleporting people around. So she has a move attack, heroic, and double heroic. She has 2 copies of her soul sword. Deal 1 extra damage to any villain, henchman, or thug you deal any damage to this turn. So sometimes the thugs take 2 damage. This does help you take out both guys, or you do right there. You have two hits already and do 4 damage. It's pretty cool. She's got 2 copies of the stepping discs. You may move to any location. She's got 2 copies of sorcery. In your adjacent location, heroic or attack, or 1 hero there draws 1 card. So that's kind of helpful. She has time travel. Swap this card with any basic card in the storyline. That card becomes the one you played this turn. So that's super helpful if you need one of your older cards. Let's say you need the extra attack or you need to move. That's kind of cool. Then she has a starting hand card, which is Portal to Limbo. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, at the end of your turn, you may move to the Limbo card. You may bring other heroes in your location with you. Interesting. I'll have to grab that quick. That's extra card that was, I thought, just for her villain. I didn't realize she used it as well. So we'll look at that in just a second. To have that stashed with the villain cards. She also has equipment. So if you're not familiar with equipment, just a quick rundown is if you want to include equipment in the game, you have to remove your double wild card. Just to kind of even your deck back out. Otherwise, it stays out and you can potentially use it whenever it says. So this says, use on your draw card step. Instead of drawing the top card of your deck, search for a soul sword card and draw it. Shuffle the deck and then turn this face down. So this is going to let her pull her soul sword out whenever she needs it. As long as she has 2 of them, she can get that whenever she wants, which that's pretty fun. And then on the back here, it does have the little red symbol for recharge. At the end of the turn, if you play a hero card with no special effect, turn this face up. If she plays some other card, she can turn this face back up and look for her soul sword again. And you can keep doing that as long as it's in her deck. You only search your deck, so if it's in your discard pile, that doesn't help you. So that's pretty cool there. Alright, so she has an extra limbo card. I've already sleeved it, but we'll deal with that, whatever. So it just says, in the course of the game, it just says, since heroes starting their turn, discard all their action tokens. Well, here they, when they move, they can move anywhere. This is not a location. Heroes ending their turn here take one unpreventable damage except for magic / dark child. So that's kind of neat with this card. So as long as this card's face up, let's try and end your turn, you may move to the limbo card. You may bring other heroes with you. So she can just pop over there. She'll lose any of her tokens she has. Same with anybody else. They'll take damage. She can go there for free, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you can pop over to limbo then, and then you're out of the way. No heroes can land on you. They can't do damage to you. See, unfortunately, the damage part's not super helpful, but you know, go ahead and land there. If you have guys with healing factors, though, they might just take one damage and then heal at the beginning of their turn. So that's kind of a neat little extra thing there as well. Alright, so up next we have another new mutant. We have a kind of a cooler version of him. We have Cypher / Warlock. So unlike the original version, like with the new mutant parts, I don't think it would have been feasible to put Cypher in here because his power is language. He can understand any language, which doesn't super well translate to action, which is, you know, the whole thing. So then in the Krakoa storyline, he lots of times he bonds with Warlock, who had in the first set, big giant techno-organic robot. And he usually just bonds with him like a mech suit. This one, like later on, he bonds with him as his arm. And here he's actually showing when he has a sword he made out of him, which is kind of cool. So it gives him a little bit more offensive use, but we'll see what all his abilities do. So there we go. We got another picture of him. Heroic, attack, move. What do you mean, a skateboard? That's kind of cool. Move, attack, heroic attack, wild, double wild, and then he has 3 copies of Gifted Intelligence. The hero in your location gains 1 heroic token. Techno-organic feeding, draw 1 card, then discard 1 crisis token from your location or from another hero at your location if possible. This would be really helpful for certain bosses, villains, if they have the things that add crisis tokens. Then he has a starting hand card. He gets to start with Omni Translation. As long as this card is spaced up on the start line, heroes in your location can freely exchange move, heroic, or attack tokens amongst them and in the pool during their turns. This is kind of cool. Play this right up and everyone just always exchange stuff. That's kind of fun. Alright, so then we have another not a new mutant, but we have another mutant that got missed in the first set. We have an Alpha Flight member. So X-Men had the Alpha Flight team. We had Vindicator. It was Guardian. We had Guardian, Puck, Sasquatch, North Star, and Snowbird. We're missing North Star's sister, Aurora. Not really sure why they put her in there instead of someone else. Maybe their just abilities were too similar. But I am glad they put Jean Bouvier. They're French. My brain keeps trying to say Jean-Luc, but that's not right. Yes, we got the other half of the team, which is really cool. So it says white powers and super fast speed. More current stuff. The Krakoa Age, who's part of the X Factor team, which is like the investigation team, along with her brother and some other people. So let's see what she does. So we're gonna have move and attack, and then they are together. It's also neat. You can't tell it as much on here, but on the sides of their costumes, they have a starburst on the side, so when they're standing next to each other, they can make like a full starburst. Heroic, move, attack, move, heroic, double move, heroic attack, a wild, and a wild. And to continue with the rest of their Alpha Flight team, she also has the Alpha Flight card. Gain 1 move or 1 hero token for each face-up Alpha Flight card in the storyline. So unlike the Starjammers, which require whatever card was previous to be a Starjammer card, this means as long as there's an Alpha Flight card in there. So the more Alpha Flight card members you play, the more powerful that each further member's card gets. Hard to catch. Wait until the end of the next villain turn. Ignore any effect that would force you to discard action tokens or gain crisis tokens. Gestalt Photokinesis. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, each time you enter a location during another hero's turn, you may immediately heroic or attack there. So basically joining with another hero. And that is a starting hand card. Her other starting hand card is Projectile Speed. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, if you enter 2 or more different locations during your turn, at the end of your turn, you may use a heroic or attack in your location. So that's pretty cool, because she gets bonuses for moving around, which is a really neat thing. Alright. Then another member that is part of the X-Force team with her is Wolverine's son, Daking. So yeah, he joined up with them for a while. He uses his enhanced senses plus his pheromone abilities to help solve crime and mysteries, which is pretty cool. I like that they eventually made him into a hero. He started off as like a villain. Yeah, he's got the 3 claws, like the one that comes out of his bottom of his wrist instead of all 3 on the top like his pops. His tattoos are interesting for a miniature, because I get kind of why they needed to do them that way, so they stood out versus leaving them off and making you paint them separate. But they also look kind of weird because they're too 3D-ish. I mean, I don't know if there's really a good way to do that for tattoos on a character, because, again, if you leave them off and the character's bare-chested, and you're expecting the painter to be able to paint tattoos on there, and sometimes that just doesn't work either. Then it's like, oh, no, the guy doesn't look right because they have a bare chest, so I'll have to see what he looks like when he gets painted. And we did have the he is the anti-hero version, so that is also in the 3rd video with the other anti-hero. The villain path is in there. So we have a double attack, a move attack, a heroic attack, move attack, a wild, and he's got learning to be a hero. So he's got 2 copies of that. During the next villain turn, gain 1 heroic token for each damage you take. So if he takes some damage protecting people, he can dish out some heroics. Superhuman Tracker. Move to any location with a henchman or villain, then attack there. Claws. Unpreventable to a damage in a location. And then he has 2 starting hand cards. He has this healing factor, as long as this card is based up on the storyline. At the end of each villain turn, if you have less than 3 cards in your hand, you may draw 1 card. And then he has Pheromone Control. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, if you start a villain's turn alone in a location with a henchman, attach a stunned token to them. Their BAM is cancelled. During this turn, that token is discarded. Oh, just a henchman. I was thinking a thug, and I'm like, why would you stun a thug? Yeah, so it's kind of helpful. So if he gets him alone with a villain, he can stun them so their BAM doesn't happen. That's pretty cool. Alright. For our next X-Men, we have one that we've seen in the previous set, is we have Havoc Summers, or Havoc. Or Alex Summers, Havoc. This is his X-Factor uniform. This is kind of cool. We go back to the classic. His other one was just his old original outfit, which is like the full black and white one. So what he did is more sometimes well recognized X-Factor costume. Again, I have to figure out how to get some like energy beams or something on some of these guys. Make them look cool. It's like he might be standing on like part of a sentinel. It definitely looks like to me. I'll have to take a look at that. That'll make a difference for painting. Yeah, so we'll have to see what he does. He's gonna have move, attack, or shooting out some blasts. Heroic. It does say X Factor up there versus just regular. Move heroic, move attack, heroic attack, wild, double wild, and then he has 3 copies of, Apparently we got unfocused there for a moment. So let's back up. We'll just replay as all cards really quick. We have move, attack, heroic. I'm not sure when it went bad. Move heroic, move attack, heroic attack, wild, double wild, and then he has 3 copies of Release Plasma Blast. Discard a wild token to do 3 damage to an adjacent location. So long as you get some wild tokens, he can do some major damage. How does he get wild tokens though? He has a starting hand card, which will say, as long as this card is based up on the starting at the end of each building turn, getting 1 token unless you already have any. So basically you can build up 1 and then you can play one of the cards to do it. You can't save up 3 or 4 of them, but that's kind of cool. Either you can use it for just a wild token, or you can use it for his Release Energy Blast if you have him sitting in your hand, knowing you're going to be able to do some extra damage, which is really cool. Alright. Alright, and then we have a legacy hero. We have Siren, Teresa Cassidy, Banshee's daughter. She was part of the original X-Force team with Cable. I was usually hanging out with Cannonball, lusted after for a while by Deadpool. Very interesting character. So she's got her dad's Sonic Scream abilities. Yeah, she worked at the original X-Force, which was a New Mutants group that raised up. Then she was with Jamie Madrox's Multiple Man's X-Force, which were like a full-on investigation team, and then she was kind of attached to the new version as well with Aura and Dakin, but she wasn't really part of the team. She was just part of one of the cases, which is kind of just interesting, good little tie-in. Alright, so she has move and heroic, move heroic, move attack, heroic, attack, a wild, a double wild, 2 copies of Sonic Scream, deal 1 damage to each thug in an adjacent location. You may discard any number of action tokens, perform the same number of attack in that location. Well, that's kind of cool. So you can take out definitely like 1 to 2, and take out possibly discard some more. And then she has 2 copies of Vocal Trance. Attach a stun token to a villain or henchman in an adjacent location. The next villain turn, their ban is cancelled and that token is discarded. Nice, so kind of like Dakin. She can stun guys for a turn. Alright. Alright, we're going to jump to a brand new team. We have Excalibur. So we have Megan here. So we've had some Excalibur characters before. We had Captain Britain, Brian Braddock. Plus we had Shadowcat, Nightcrawler, and Phoenix, or Rachel Summers. So we had at least four other characters so far that could have, and Colossus was part of Excalibur for a while. So there's 5 different characters we could have added in there. Plus there's other people who have been members at time, depending on which versions. Psylocke, Juggernaut. But here we have Megan. She is like an elemental magical being. She's kind of I think she's halfway between mutant, halfway between like a magical being. If I remember how her powers work right, is she kind of changes around how people believe in her. So like if people think, hey, she's really awesome and great, she can usually control her abilities and look beautiful. But like if people she starts doubting herself because she thinks people are doubting her, kind of like a confidence thing, she can start turning into like an uglier form. I believe they may have like got adjusted at some point at some time. If that's how I remember it. But yeah, she's just wielding some different magic. She has a wild and a double wild right away, and she gets Energy Blast, double attack in adjacent location. Metamorphic Power Duplication. Use a special effect on any other face-up hero card in this storyline. That's pretty crazy, right? Just copy any other special effect. She's got 2 copies of Elemental Manipulation Fire. Deal 1 damage in adjacent location. 2 copies of Elemental Manipulation Ice. During the next villain turn, villains and henchmen starting their turn in your location can't leave it, and their BAM effects are cancelled. 2 copies of Elemental Manipulation Earth. Once during the next villain turn, villains ignore your location when moving. And then 2 copies of Elemental Manipulation Air. Relocate any number of thugs, civilians, heroes, and villains between your and adjacent locations. Which that could really help with overflow or starting turn effects and stuff, so that could be pretty crazy. Yeah, it's a very neat, different type of character. Alright, then we have a new Excalibur member, and also a kind of a repeat character, as we have Psylocke here, Captain Britain, Elizabeth Bradrock. So she's our second Captain Britain. Her brother was Brian. Our second Psylocke character, kind of, because this is during the Krakoa Age. So at this point, this is when Elizabeth Bradrock gets put back into her original British body and becomes Captain Britain. And then her Asian body, which is Psylocke, gets returned back to Kwan. So you can even play both of these, Psylocke and this character, together, because technically in the current universe they are different characters. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. They have another sword and shield character, so if I ever play a game where I use sword or shield characters, we have another one there. Or if we want to play British characters, we got enough probably British characters to just play a British team, which is also fun. Got a Russian team, you could play a British team. I don't know if any other nationalities. I mean, obviously, Alpha Flight, you could do Canadian team. But, you know, without having to just be the one team of characters. Captain team she could join. A bunch of different teams she could be on. Alright. What does she do here? She has heroic attack. Move, heroic. Move, attack. I have to figure out how to paint those things that look like psychic abilities. It's going to be interesting. Move, heroic. Move, attack. Heroic. Or sorry, wild. Double wild. She's got 2 copies of her Sonic Blast. Attach a stun token to a villain or henchman in your location. Next villain turn, their BAM is cancelled and the token is discarded. And then she's got 2 copies of Master Telepathic Fighter. The next villain's turn, if the Master Plan card has a BAM on it, immediately after the villain's movement, you may attack in your location. Which is a lot of them, so it's going to happen very often. But yeah, helps if you already... So if they land in your location, you can attack them, you can finish off a henchman or whoever. So that's pretty cool. Then she also has an equipment card. Alright, so she has a Starlight Sword. Created a magical sword here, which is pretty fun. So she gets permanent. If you perform at least 2 heroic or 2 attack actions during your turn, at the end of your next turn, you may perform an extra action of the same type. It's a little bit delayed, but it does give you the ability to do an extra attack. So that's pretty cool. Or extra heroic, which should be very helpful. And if it flips over, it says, if this card is turned face down by an effect, remove it from the game. So this doesn't get a recharge like her Magic Soul Sword. If it's broken and gone. Awesome. Alright, that is all we had for X-Men and mutant characters, or mutant-related characters. Now we're going to look at some monsters. Or monster-adjacent characters, or mystical, magical, however you want to talk about them. We're going to start with Elsa Bloodstone, who is literally a monster hunter. So she's standing over a monster, a dragon of some sort that she killed, some demon. She's got a trusty shotgun. I don't know if you can see her kind of on her collar. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard from my angle. But she does have her Bloodstone. She has a Bloodstone which gives her enhanced super abilities. If this camera wants to focus. Alright, what does she do for us? They're showing up in the top corner too. Alright, so she has an attack. Heroic. Move attack. Move heroic. Move attack. A move. Wild. Double wild. 2 copies of Huntress. Move to any location with a villain or henchman there, then attack. Nice, just jumps around. She's got a couple of starting hand cards. She has her Blood Gem. Bloodstone's her last name, but it's a Blood Gem. So she's gonna get, as long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, once per turn when you can perform an attack, you may discard one card from the bottom of your deck to immediately perform an additional attack. That's cool. Like, you just really need to get the extra damage. And then your other one is Vampiric Immunity. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, you don't gain crisis tokens from villain or henchman BAM effects. Nice. So again, depending on what villain you're fighting against, you might have a better chance. That's pretty cool. Alright, she also gets an equipment card. She has Mordred's Causeway. Permanent. Heroes in your location may move to the opposite location using a move action. Neat. So yeah, interesting little teleport ability with her. But if it ever gets turned down, it's broken. Nice. Alright. Up next, we're going to jump into the realm of monsters. And we're going to look at Man-Thing. So Man-Thing is the nexus of all realities. He has the touch that burns those who fear. And he hangs out with Howard the Duck. So we do have Howard the Duck from the first Marvel set, so you can team these guys up. It's pretty cool. Big giant swamp monster in the talk. He was also part of the one of the Thunderbolts team. They used him as to help portal around everywhere, which is pretty cool. Alright, so what does he do? He's going to have a wild, and his double wild right away. Then he will have 2 copies of Earth's Life Force, draw 1 card. Then he's got, this is kind of cool, he has Empathy. You reach in his hand. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, if you end your turn location with 1 or more civilians, you can heroic there. You can rescue them. But then he also gets Empathy. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, if you end your location with 1 or more thugs, you can attack there. It's just kind of neat that he gets both of those. He has a Regeneration. If you have less than 3 cards in your hand, you may draw 1. Another one with a heroic symbol on the bottom. Then he has the Universal Language. As long as this card is spaced up in your storyline, you may treat all your action tokens as wilds. And then Reality Displacement. Choose another hero in your location and remove them from play. Keep any tokens. The player resumes playing their next turn with a different hero starting from the location you're currently in. So that's pretty crazy, right? To be able to, like... We've had villains that have done that. Like, they basically eat or they get rid of a villain, send them somewhere, and you have to play as a different hero. Dang, you have a hero that lets you do that. So you can swap out, like, halfway through if you need to play someone different. So that's kind of neat. And then he has some starting hand cards. He has Acidic Touch. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, after a villain or henchman bams in a location, deal 2 damage to them. And he has Dimensional Teleportation. As long as this card is spaced up in the storyline, when you perform a move, you may move to any location. You may bring other heroes in a location with you. So this is kind of a neat, interesting character because there's all this stuff that's once it's in play, then you can do all his extra abilities. He doesn't have any generic stuff, but he's just basically, as the game goes on, he's just going to have more and more potential options. But the downside is that lots of his cards they don't do anything while they're being played. So as long as it's face up, then you can do this. If this is face up, or this one moves guys, but if they're face up, then you get to do these. But you have to, like, wait until they're face up and then it gets more powerful. It's kind of cool. Different way to play a character. Alright, we have Jack Russell, or Werewolf by Night. So we can start these guys with Man-Thing and him, and we can start making our monster team. Can't think of the name of the group now. There's literally a group of team. It's a group of monsters with like Ghost Rider and these guys. But it's not coming to me. So yeah, we got Jack Russell. Also, of course, the ironic part of his name being Jack Russell, and he's a werewolf, so Jack Russell Terrier is the joke there. Alright, so what does he do for us? got a werewolf, and we got a vampire at least, right? We just need a Frankenstein and a mummy. Moon Knight could be our mummy, and Man-Thing can be our Frankenstein, right? All of our universal monsters. We have a heroic, we have an attack, a move attack, a move heroic, a double attack, a wild, a double wild. He's got 3 copies of Lycanthrope Strength, move, then double attack. And then he has a starting hand card, which is Regenerative Healing Factor. As long as this card is face up in the start line, if you have less than 3 cards in your hand at the end of the villain turn, you may draw a card with a moving attack. Then he also has a bottom of the deck card, which you don't have too many of these, which are interesting. It says full move. If this card is in your hand, you must play it. On your next turn, you must play your hero card. Randomly, each time you enter a location with other heroes, you must damage one of them. So, if you get down to the end of your deck, your last couple of cards are going to be really tricky to play. But yeah, I kind of like, I don't mind some of these. It's like, kind of like odd weaknesses for the character. I know like Logan has one, and I think Phoenix might have one. Yeah, you don't want to overdo this stuff, but they're kind of fun to be like, hey, you get this card, though, like, once you get to the end, they're going to be harder to do stuff with. Because as long as it fits thematically, right? Alright, then we have Ghost Rider. So we had a Ghost Rider in the first series. That was Robbie Reyes with his Charger. And now we're getting Johnny Blaze, the original Ghost Rider. At least the original, like, name one that people know. On his motorcycle, the Stunt Rider. His Hellfire wheels. This is going to be a fun one to paint. The chain and everything. Yeah, so the only other main Ghost Rider we're missing then, I would love to see would be Danny Ketch, which is the 90s Ghost Rider. He was one of my favorites. But of course we could always get like Alejandra as well, or get some of the oddball ones. I'd also love to see if they do a 2099 set. I'd love to see Ghost Rider 2099 as well. That'd be cool. Alright, what does good old Johnny Blaze do for us? He has move, of course he does. He's on a motorcycle. He's going to move around as much as he can. Double attack. Move heroic. Move attack. Move attack. Wild and wild. And then he has his penance stare. Defeat all thugs in your location. And it's an attack. Regenerative Healing Factor. If you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand, you may draw a card. Hellfire Storm. Triple attacks put as you like in your and adjacent locations. And then 2 copies of Sing Removal. During your turn, each thug in your location into civilians. So it's pretty cool. Then he does have some equipment cards. So he's going to get his Hell Cycle. So as use on your turn, you get a move, then turn the space down. So these are going to match the original ones. Except his is, I think it was Hell Charger, his is Hell Cycle. And they can recharge it by defeating 2 or more thugs on your turn. Turn the space up at the end of the turn. It also gets this Hellfire Chain. Use on your turn to attack up to 2 different targets in your location. Then you may turn this face down. So you could do the 1, move twice, and you could do this to attack, defeat 2 to turn this base back up at the end of your turn. It says recharge to begin your turn, discard 1 card and 1 attack token to turn this base up. So a little bit harder to get those back up. Alright, we got one last character for this group, and it's a magical character. We have Wong, good old Wongers. So we had Doctor Strange in the first series, but we never got Wong. I don't think probably at the time they thought he was going to be, like, the first Doctor Strange movie. He was kind of like, oh, he was there, but I don't think people were like, oh my gosh. But then I think, like, the other series started coming out and he became more popular based on the movies. So we got Wong. Now we're just going to get Clea, and we have the 3 sets of them. And then maybe get a Baron Mordo as a playable. Alright, so we have a move with him, because he just uses portals to teleport. Move heroic. Move attack. Heroic attack. Heroic attack. Wild. Wild. He's got 2 copies of Martial Artist. This turn, you can treat attacks at the bottom of the previous storyline as double attacks. Ooh, that's pretty fun. So it could be potentially up to 4 extra attack points. He's got teleportation. Move to any location. You can bring other heroes to your location with you. And then finally, we have protective shields. During the next villain turn, all heroes in your rotation may ignore the first damage they would take. So he's kind of a good support character. He doesn't have a lot of extra stuff going on himself, but he can move guys, protect your guys, but he doesn't get some good attacks out if he's planning it right. Alright, that's what we have for video part 4, the first part of the heroes. Check out the 3 previous ones of the villains. If you haven't, check out the later ones where we go over the rest of the heroes and then all the team decks. Or check out all the other Marvel United multiverse stuff. See you guys later. Hit me up in the comments. Bye.